I'm Tom with Never Board Gaming, and I'm going to show you my board game collection, and this idea comes from my buddy Jeremiah Acevedo, the Board Game Renegade. Thank you so much for this awesome idea, and I do want to apologize to you guys for the audio quality. Most of my house is tile, so it's just going to echoey and sound terrible. But we're going to start off with kind of a little bit more boring, and we'll get to the big meaty stuff in a minute. This shelf right here is kind of my D&D shelf. So I do have all of my Attack Wing miniatures for D&D. It's a really great game, very similar to X-Wing, but honestly, I just never get to play it, so it's actually starting to get a little bit dusty here. I wish I could play it more. Here's the box and some of the tokens for that. I also have my D&D actual books for when we do our campaigns, which we haven't done in forever. These miniatures right here, these are actually for the game Descent. They just can't all fit in the box. These are all D&D games, Lords, Tyrants, and Conquest in the Wrath. This right here, this is an expansion for Tyrants of the Underdark. I just kept the box because I got to remind myself that I still have to review that. This is another D&D board game that actually I wasn't that big a fan of, and I'm kind of considering whether I'm going to keep it in my collection or not. More Descent miniatures. You know, you get all those hero and monster packs. They're not going to fit in the box, so I have no idea what to do with them. Over here I have Rune Wars miniatures game because, again, doesn't fit in the box. I have no idea where I'm going to put these. Now let's do a little invasion of privacy. I'm going to show you one cool thing that I actually have in my bedroom. So I do have this big bad boy. So most of these fat packs are kind of empty, but all of these are filled with Android Netrunner, Game of Thrones LCG, the Lord of the Rings LCG, and Magic. And all of these are just jam-packed full. Look at all those cards, super dense. And they're all really organized, they're all in alphabetical order and everything. There's just this whole card shelf here is completely packed because I have a problem. And now, the big shelf. Look at this bad boy. We actually had to build, Aaron and I had to build this in my house because it just wouldn't fit through my door. So whenever I move, I'm gonna have to tear this bad boy down. So starting up in the top left over here is where I have more of my Euro games, Seven Wonders, Catan, Guilds of London. Now I put them up there because I kept thinking, I don't really play Euro games that much. They're not gonna be played all that frequently, but I've been playing Euro games a lot more, so now I wish I didn't have to get up on a chair to reach those. Got my Marvel shelf with all my Legendary and that one other Marvel game. Elysium of Between Two Cities because they wouldn't fit up there. I've got some Dice Master stuff. I have a lot more Dice Master stuff stored elsewhere that you guys won't be able to see. I have these games I kind of feel are sister games, so that's why I kind of kept them all together. Still looking for the expansion for Kemet. This is kind of my silly game, not necessarily party games, more kind of goofy, cartoony, silly games. And then down here we get into small games and party games. So like Deception isn't a small game, but it's a party game, so this shelf is two categories. I really like to organize my games by category, in case you haven't noticed this. Down here, we get into the pandemics. I'm only missing 2 expansions for the base game here. Then we also have the Android-themed games, not actual Netrunner, the Android-themed games. And then down here is when we start reaching the horror section of my shelf. So I also have Munchkin, because I didn't really know where else to throw that. But these are all horror-themed games like Dead of Winter and stuff. And then down here I actually have actual Cthulhu-themed horror games. I don't have 2nd edition for Mansions yet. And then of course Betrayal and Phantom Society, which I don't even know if I'm going to keep. And then coming over to this side, up in the top shelf there, I have all of my big potato games because they always have oddly shaped game boxes, and now we've gotten a couple more, and they won't even fit up there. I'm really going to have to figure out where I'm going to put these. Like, hey, that one's a bucket. What am I going to do with that? And then over here, Risk. Now, I love Risk. I have tons of different versions of it because Risk is really what got me into the hobby, so I feel like it deserves its own shelf. And then we start get slightly more into like sci-fi area here with the Euphoria games and Galaxy Defenders and Star Realms, and then really hardcore sci-fi with Cosmic Encounter, my favorite game, love you, and Twilight Imperium, another one of my favorite games, super dope, super awesome, never get to play it though, and Netrunner, of course, another favorite game. As you can tell, I love Fantasy Flight. Then we also have here, now we're starting to get into medieval, miscellaneous medieval, with Summoner Wars. This is everything for Summoner Wars in here, so this is really jam-packed. Of course, the Red Dragon Inn, this one's about 50% full. And then we're getting into the Runebound universe down here. So Battlelore, Runebound, Rune Wars Miniatures, Dungeon Quest, Rune Wars the regular game, Rune Age, which nobody ever plays anymore, but I think is really good. And then of course all these extra minis for Battlelore. These are the expansions, but they won't all fit in there. I have no idea what to do. And you may notice that while I don't have a large number of different games per se, it's mostly expansions. Like I get Summoner Wars and I got everything for Summoner Wars. I got Battle War, I got everything for Battle War. I got Descent, and I got everything for Descent. And it does kind of, this is in the same universe as these games, so that's why they're shelved so close to each other. And then as we come down, we're still sticking with the medieval theme. We've got Lord of the Rings. This is my whole Lord of the Rings shelf, one of my favorite LCGs right here. And then War of the Ring with its expansions, and this little bad boy. Ooh, what's stuff in there? Little Minas Tirith. And then there's still more Lord of the Rings down here and The Hobbit, but then we start transitioning into Game of Thrones, which is still medieval, so it makes sense that it's there. And as we travel down to the bottom shelf, we start hitting our military-themed games with Memoir 44 and Tide of Iron, which is a really epic, awesome war game that I wish they still made. And these are kind of more miscellaneous. They're sitting here more for like their size. I wish these could fit up there with those other miscellaneous medieval games, but they kind of don't, so this is where they reside for now. Now we also have one extra special treat. Since we're talking about my collection, and my collection is also, my house really, is also where we have our studio. I can show you that real quick. And here's the studio. You may notice the audio probably got a lot better. So this is where we would put the camera if Aaron wasn't holding it right now. And this is where we put our mic if Aaron wasn't holding it right now. We've got our lights up here. We've got our soundproofing that we've been working on, a little TV where we get to look at our fancy faces. And now over here, this is our shelf of games we've gotten for review. Some of them we have reviewed, some of them we still haven't. A lot of them we're still trying to like divvy out, like, oh, who's gonna claim this game, of the three of us. And also we still have a lot of prototypes here, like this is the Champions of Midgard expansion prototype. We have the Total Recall prototype right here. So, again, we're not gonna really keep prototypes, but we don't really know what to do with them. We're not gonna throw them away. So for right now, they reside on the shelf. This list over here is what we still have yet to complete. It was a lot longer and I went through and cleaned it up. And then we have our Never Bored bar. We usually take a shot or make a drink before we film a video. But the last thing I'm gonna show you guys is this. This is what's called the suicide shot. Whenever one of a bottle of one of our liquors gets real low, like just this much, we pour it in here. So this is a huge mixture of a bunch of nasty stuff. And if anybody messes up a take or screws up real bad or does something really dumb, and 2 out of the 3 of us agree that that person needs to take a suicide shot, well, they gotta take a suicide shot. Thank you so much for letting me show you my awesome collection and our awesome studio. And I want to do a big thanks to my big boy, J Money, Board Game Renegade. This was a really awesome idea. I'm really honored that we can be a part of it. I can't wait to hang out with you at Gen Con. And hey, all y'all watching right now, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. Do a shot.